Hello, and welcome to The Mind of a Therapist, a podcast where I interview psychotherapists and helping professionals and what they're passionate about in order to provide you with messages of encouragement and hope. I'm your host, Andrew Earle. The Mind of a Therapist is sponsored by Psychological Counseling Services, healing hearts and transforming lives. Look into our intensive at pcsearle.com. Hello, The Mind of a Therapist listeners. Andrew here. Wanted to start by saying thank you for listening to the podcast. Thanks for your support in listening and rating and reviewing if you have, and sharing the podcast if you have. I really appreciate it. And in today's episode, I'm going to do something a little different than what I normally do. Instead of interviewing, I'm going to be going through a guided imagery exercise. And I developed this in response to a journal article written by Dr. Patricia Sablatura. The article is called Ecotherapy, Theoretical Foundations Leading to Clinical Work with Images and Dreams for Individual, Community, and Planetary Transformation. The paper was published in 2009 around a presentation that she did at the American Counseling Association annual conference. And Dr. Sablatura was a professor at my grad program, Regis University, and she actually passed away right as I was entering the program, and so I never had the pleasure of meeting her, but her work had such an impact on those in our program and on me through reading her work that it really influences how I engage with people, and I wanted to present this guided imagery because it's landed for people and resonated. So I'll invite you. Well, first I'd like to say, if you are operating a motor vehicle, pick a different podcast. Don't listen to this podcast. It's going to be pretty relaxing, and I'll hop right into it then. So feel free to find a comfortable seat, find a position that's comfortable for you, and I'll invite you to close your eyes, and we'll start with a few deep breaths. So take a big breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And I'll give you a moment to tune into your breath. Maybe notice the air going in your nose and out your mouth. Maybe notice your chest or your stomach rising and falling. And I'll leave you with a moment here to tune in to your breath. And know that your mind will likely wander. This is completely okay. Just gently bring your mind back to the breath. And I'll invite you to consider a place in nature, a place that has been special to you, that you've especially connected with. This could be even a specific object, a natural object, a living object. I'll give you a moment to bring your attention to this place or this natural object. And now that you're here at this place or with this object, I want you to tune into what you're seeing in this place. Take a moment to notice the colors that you see, the textures that you see, the shapes you see, and really just tune into what you're seeing in this place. Now I'll invite you to tune into what you're smelling. Notice any smells in this place. Now I'll invite you to tune in to the sense of taste. Notice any tastes that you may be experiencing in this place. Now I'll invite you to tune into what you're hearing in this place. What sort of sounds are there? Now I'll invite you to tune into what your body's feeling, both emotionally and physically. Now I want you to imagine that this place or object can speak to you. What does this place have to say? Now, consider the biggest question that you have. What's the biggest question you want to ask this place? Go ahead and ask this place or object this question. We're coming towards the end of the podcast, and so I'll invite you to either turn off the podcast and stay in this place as long as you'd like, conversing with this place. Maybe it has more messages for you, Or maybe you need to continue on with your day, and if so, I'll invite you to slowly open your eyes and come back into the room that you're in. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that it will support you in your connections to the natural world, and your connections with others, and your connections with a higher power, with your connections with yourself. Please press the subscribe button, as well as rating and reviewing our podcast. This helps others connect with what you've been hearing. If you have any questions, please contact us at themindofitherapist@gmail.com. These questions will be kept anonymous. I want to thank Eric Price for the wonderful music you hear in this podcast. Additionally, this podcast was created to provide accurate and authoritative information on the subject matter. Although we are interviewing licensed therapists, they are not your therapists. This podcast is not intended to serve as direct medical advice and should not be used as a substitute for direct professional help. It is given with understanding that neither the host, publisher, guests, or PCS are rendering legal, clinical, or other professional information. If you need a professional, we encourage you to find one. Visit Psychology Today to connect with a licensed clinician near you.